That's what we're going to be doing. And that's where prayer and praise comes into play. This week I learned something, just real quick. I learned that, praise is part of our package. It's part of who we are as a people, not primarily because we believe that we're from the tribe of Judah, but primarily because that's what the Creator, what He desires. This is what He's really truly after out of humanity, and this is what He's after from His children, the children of Israel. Remember, we read in Jeremiah chapter number 13, the Yahweh says that I created you to give me praise and to give me honor on the earth. And we really have lost sight of what that really looks like. We'll find in the Psalms a whole bunch of praise. And David, he said things like, praise Him, hallelujah, hallel, Quadasho, praise Him in His holiness. That's in the Birkuah, the firmament of the heavens, and His great strength and His power. And we praise Him for all these wonders that He's done. We praise Him for the breath that He's given us. Said, let everything that have breath, that has this neshama, the neshama is the breath of life that Yah has given to every creature on this earth, that He's breathed into them to allow them to have an existence. And so we're thankful for that, whether we're an animal species, whether we are a human species, an insect, plant life, everything was designed to bring a sense of gratitude towards the one who created it. This is the grand plan for Yah's children. He made the world for Israel. I know it sounds selfish, but we're His children. Why do you think He said that when I made the earth, it's all mine? Why do you think when He gave His marriage proposal, He said the whole earth belongs to me, everything in it? He says, why do you think He says, if I was hungry, I wouldn't tell you? You couldn't sacrifice enough sheep or oxen to me. You couldn't give me rivers of oil. That wouldn't be enough. Yah is beyond comprehension. But the praise that we give Him is so essential to our growth and our development. I don't want us to lose sight of that, okay? I didn't discover this until I asked Yah to, I was praying and the fasting came in my mind. I said, you know what? I haven't fasted for a long time since Yom Kippur last year, the Day of Atonement. So that's generally we do it for 24 hours. But I haven't done it since then. So I was like, you know what? That word popped in my head. I tried to ignore it and be like, no, I'm on like 5 minutes away from my breakfast time. I should just go have it. And I decided, I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give you my word. I'm not going to eat anything, from sun up till sundown. And out here in California, it's like a 12-hour day. So I did that. But in the midst of me doing that, Yah revealed to me, listen to me, He revealed to me Psalms 150, and He showed me that praise is the ultimate thing that Yah's looking for from everybody about His greatness. And we have failed to do that, and we don't have any idea of the greatness and the magnitude of Yah, because we're not the ones that He brought out of the land of Mizraim. We didn't see the water split open. We didn't see the firstborn that died. We didn't see the manna fall out of heaven. So it's kind of difficult for us to really wrap our minds around the amount of gratitude and appreciation and praise with our mouths and with our hands. And so He revealed that to me. And I only got that is because I decided to put something else underneath Him, which was my stomach. It wasn't just the egg sandwich, the bagel sandwich, it was my stomach. Sometimes you got to put your stomach under your rulership and tell it can't have certain things that it wants. And as a result of that, I had a wonderful study that day. I felt really good. It was a great, I would say, informative day. Okay, so let's remember that. Let's get into our study tonight. I'm not going to take a whole bunch of time. I'm going to try to get this done as quickly as possible. Let me pull it out right quick for us. I thought it would be cool for us to have, a slideshow. I thought it'd be extra special. So I put one together for us because I believe pictures, they speak volumes to us and there's things that we can remember. And also too, Yeri did a really nice job with his tents. I looked for that one. I couldn't find it. I forgot exactly how you got it. I was looking for, I couldn't find it. So what I did find is this. It's not as pretty as yours, but it's very powerful. What we see in this picture is the word midbar. Okay, Bamidbar. Somebody tell me what Bamidbar means from your memory. What you remember?
In the wilderness.
And this is the wilderness. Okay, give me a different color here. This is the wilderness right here, midbar. Midbar. That's how you write it out in English, midbar. Okay, and that b right there is in. Okay, so this is the book that we're in, and we're going to be here for a long time. It has like 36 chapters, and these portions are a little long and extended, and they seem very repetitive. And it seems when I was a Christian, I didn't want to read. I was like, man, this is just the same old. What, and I wouldn't read it. It's crazy. So now that I realize that I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I found out what this word wilderness means. Okay, so if you break this word down right quick again, okay, this one right here is what they would call a preposition, to let you know the location. And this right here is like in the Hebrew, me. Okay, this letter M means from. Okay, that's the preposition for from. Okay, and it has to do with water. All right, should have put that in blue so you can remember. From, meaning that it's from water. That's where the mem comes from. Okay, and then on this last part right here, davar, which is D-A-V-A-R, davar. Okay. Davar means to speak. Okay. So when we read this book, we said, oh, it's the book of Numbers, so it has to do with counting. No, it's much more than that. What it is from speaking, from him speaking, who? In. And who's doing the speaking in the wilderness?
Yeah.
Yah was doing the speaking in the wilderness. Okay. So it's from the word of Yah when he's speaking in the wilderness. Okay. And so he's the one who's doing it. Okay. So it's literally coming from, okay, his speech. And so we see here that Yah was communicating with them in several ways. He put fire, right? Why did he use the fire? Somebody tell me. Why do you use fire?
You started to burn to instill fear.
Yes. Good job. Fire for fear, fire to remember. Now check it out. Remember that they received the 10 words and they saw fire. They saw this great fire. So Yah's giving them a reminder that I am a consuming fire. So even at night, it looked like the sky was on fire. Just like you see right here, he will descend down. You understand? When he lit the altar, he lit it with the fire that came down from heaven. Okay. So this was a constant reminder to them to understand that I'm in your presence and you need to be aware that I am a consumer. I will consume you in my flames, in my fire. And that's associated with his anger that we saw. Okay. And this talks about it's going to blaze up. My anger is going to blaze up. All right. As you notice in this picture right here, they have, looks like thousands upon thousands of tents, but it's in a very vast, big, huge wilderness, huge, right? And the people are in the millions. So Yah needs to bring what you would call order. And he brings it in the wilderness. Yahweh puts everything in order. Even though the word davar, and I don't like this color, even the word davar, okay? Davar is about it says talk about speaking, right? When you speak, Well, what do you speak? You speak words. And you have to put those words in order, a certain order. That means that what you put in an order, you make it, you arrange. You're making an arrangement. Okay. Just like when he put the tribes where he wanted to put them, he put them where he wanted to put them. This is all, before we go any further, I want everybody to know where your makom is, where your place is. Okay. So where you need to be. I got to move a little faster because I love to talk. You guys know that. So let's move faster. So that's what Devar is. It's a matter of speaking, but words that you put in order, arrangement. So Yah's talking to them to put them in order by his words. Okay. One word I want to focus on tonight that we find in our Torah portion is called makane. Okay. Makane is called ma, and then ka, and then ne. Makane. Okay. Makane. Makane. And Makane is a camp. Okay. Like we just saw in our photo. It's a camp. Right. But it means a little bit more from an agricultural standpoint. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to take and break down the root of the word, okay, which is Khan, the ket, the ch, and then the an, okay? That's what we're going to break down. This is a floater, but this right here, the mem represents the preposition from. And from is from what element?
Water.
Water. Keep that in mind. Okay, because they didn't have the water with them. They always had to go from somewhere, which was they had to go from the tent to the water, from the tent to go somewhere else to go get the water. You understand? From the tent to the river, from the tent to the pond, from the tent to the well, from the tent to this to go to the water, to the streams. Okay, so we're going to look at that. So tonight you're going to have a little bit of a Hebrew in there, a Hebrew lesson. If you don't know Hebrew, don't worry about it, because you are Hebrew. You are Ivrit. This is in you, whether you want to believe it or not. You could deny it, doesn't matter. It's in your blood. Okay. So Makane, okay, it's called the camp. I saw a whole bunch of different pictures, arrangements online, and a majority of them were in boxes, like, they were squares. So on this side over here, you would have a square, and then over here you got the other tribe, and they're all lined up like squares, like you see our picture. Well, that's not really accurate. The true accurate understanding is one of a circle. Okay, that's what it truly is. They weren't around like, just boxes. They were a circle. And I'm going to explain to you, how do we know this, and how can we prove this? You can prove this off of scripture. You can prove it off of what we've been reading, okay? We have, it looks like, and it tells us the directions, which is the east, the south, the west, and the north, okay? And it lets you know who is inside the north region, who's in the east region, and who's in the south region, okay? And, so we see who's together. So we got Yehuda, but you also have the heads of these tribes, like Dan is of the north, Yehuda is the leader of the east, Reuven is in the south, and Ephraim is in the west. And then there's other tribes along with them that are with them, okay? And some of them are, directly out of their mother's womb, and then other ones might be out of the maidservant's womb. Just depends on where it's at, okay? So that's what it is. But you also know, I talked earlier this week about this idea of protecting. Call it protection or protectionism. Okay. So protectionism is the idea to guard and to make sure that no one is able to penetrate in anywhere. Okay. To get to this, nobody. Okay. So there's different layers of individuals that stand in between the outside world and Israel. Okay. Life for us is a circle. Okay. And our lives are identified by what we would call the life cycle. Okay. And so in the life cycles, you're going to have the baby being born. You're going to have the child being raised up. You're going to have the young adult. You're going to have the adult, and then the young, more mature, and then you go into your elderly, and then you go to your super duper elderly wise, and then we go to our death, and then we come back and repeat the cycle. And along the way, we drop off season. We continue this cycle through life. Everything has what they call a life cycle, and part of that life cycle is death. Part of that life cycle is birth. Part of that life cycle is development. And so the things that we have to get and the things that we have to do, you don't know when your cycle is going to end. Yah has given everybody a certain amount of days. Okay. So the idea of protectionism is for them to protect the tabernacle. Okay. And everyone that you see here was given that responsibility. The family that was not counted among the other tribes of Israel was the tribe of Levi. And so the Lawiim and the Kohanim, okay, they are the ones, they're doing service, one primarily in the Mishkan, and the other ones are breaking it down and taking down the poles, taking down the curtains, but they're not allowed to look at anything, and they're not allowed to touch nothing without authorization from the Kohanim. The Kohanim are not allowed to lift anything. They're not allowed to put, any of the sockets or nothing. They're not allowed to even move the equipment. They're allowed to authorize it, but they're not allowed to lift it. So everyone has their job and their responsibility, and it's their job to protect the responsibility that's been given to them. Even outside of the Leviim in the 12 other tribes that we have here, we find that they have duties and responsibilities. And out of each one of these families, they have leaders, and they have leaders over thousands, tens, and so it's a whole army type setup, like Yared had brought out earlier last week. Okay, so we see organization here. We see arrangement. We see things being put into play, and individuals taking their job and their responsibility. That's why they were numbered and they were censored. Okay, census, because they had to go through this process prior to them getting their assignments. Okay, so it's an arrangement, but it's an assignment. The word, like I told you, makane, has the first root letter called a ket. So like I said, it'll be an easy Hebrew lesson for you. Here's ket, and it's a picture of a wall. That's what the letter ket means. It means a wall. And so the letter nun, okay, means the seed. Okay, meaning to continue. That's what a seed does. That means children, they continue. You put a seed in the ground, it continues to grow, and then it puts off other seeds. And so when you join these two letters together, okay, like a ket and then a nun, okay, that's the final nun, it means the wall continues. Okay, so when you look at the picture that I showed you earlier, when I talk about the wall continuing, it's representative of what the children of Israel were like. So the nomad camps consisted of many tent families, which would make up a camp, okay? And these camps were, placed in a circular configuration. And so when they placed them all around each other, it was like a circle, okay, which allowed the wall to continue. That's what it did, okay? So there wasn't any opportunity for anyone just to run in from the outside, okay? Why is this important? Because Yah's going to show us something about this, okay? Here we go. So within the wall of any structure is the family, which is even in your house you have today, or in a group in a camp setting, right? A family clan, which is a place of freedom, compassion, and beauty, right? And also, too, from a Hebraic standpoint, throwing what it is on there, it means the camp is the action. That's what they're doing. They're going to camp. And the concrete is what? A camp. Okay, so go camp, make a camp, and then the abstract is beauty. And they're going to tell us why. Okay. So there's this encampment of all these tents. And now remember, like Yetta said, there's millions of people. There's millions of families and children elderly, and all different types. Okay. Those who are clean and unclean. And when they were unclean, yeah, I asked them to remove themselves from the circle. And we should call it the circle of righteousness because, or cleansiness. Okay. So even within that, you can see that if you're inside of an enclosed space, if you bring something inside that space, okay, you have to be removed from that space. And otherwise, you're cycling in it. See, so Yah wants to pull you out of the family to get you clean. Okay. So, you see what I'm saying? And so anybody that was unclean, they got to put them outside of the circle. Okay. Yeah, I had mentioned in many other passages in the Torah that says if someone does this, you got to get rid of him. You got to cut that soul off from his people, because it means that you're going to get out of the cycles that everyone else is going on, because you can cause problems and contaminants. What can you and I learn from this? We learned that in our cycle of life, okay, I'm sorry about this. In our cycle of life, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we find a way that we stay in the circle and that we're able to exercise our rights, our freedoms, and this compassion and this beauty that we're supposed to have. Okay. What are we supposed to have freedom to do? We have supposed to have freedom from oppression, freedom from violence, freedom from hostility, freedom from being mistreated or taken advantage of, freedom of someone taking something from you, stealing something from you, freedom from those things that are outside of our community and outside of our circle. Okay. So this was what Yah wanted to provide for them, an atmosphere, an environment that allowed them to move around freely with no restrictions. Okay. Not to do their own thing. Okay. But to do what was inside and how the circle was created. Okay. Families could not camp their tents where they felt like it. If they really enjoyed being next to someone in another tribe, they couldn't do this. They couldn't mix. There was no mixing of the tribes in that sense. Like, you guys were over here. This is the family. You bring a daughter over here. Your son is not coming over here. Your daughter goes to that family. See? So she's not being, your son is not going to be pulled back over to them. Not from that standpoint. She's going to be on this side. You married in Yehuda, you're part of Yehuda now. You see? And so Yah knew that would happen. But in terms of location, where these people are supposed to be, they had to be in these very specific areas. And y'all explain to us why. So even though there's some, what we would call regulations and rules, a lot of people have taken the Torah and say that there's no freedom. Is that we're getting locked in handcuffs. You can't eat pork. So now all of a sudden you're chained. You don't got no freedom to do anything. You're just, Yah saying, I want you to be free from that which is bad for you. Hear what I just told you. I've taken you out of slavery to make you free. Not just from your chains, not just from you getting beat and choked out and being taken advantage of from that perspective. I've taken you out of there so you can be in an environment that allows you to be free and to be at rest and to be at peace. Okay. When we talk about compassion in this environment, okay, they often think and call compassion, which is part of Khan. Khan is the name of what they would call compassion, that you would call grace and you would call mercy. This is what it is, Khan. And the word for mercy is kana. No, that's grace. Excuse me. That's grace. Mercy is called chesed. Okay. Chesed. But at any rate, grace is like, I'm going to have pity on you. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to express it to you. I'm going to make it, easy for you to move about without having to worry about me doing something to you. Okay. It means that you can make a mistake, and I'm not here to damage you any further, but I'm here to bring you into an environment and an understanding of how this environment works. What we don't want to do is create a hostile environment where you try to invite people into your environment, like being a Hebrew, and you're hostile. like I told you, it was a turnoff for me, the guy that I talked to from Dimona, Israel. I was turned off because it was hostile, it was vulgar. And I'm thinking, why are you in this circle? How is this possible that you're in this circle? Eating as a vegan doesn't make your soul clean. It might help your body. There's a lot of benefits to that. But in terms of who you are and what your soul is, foods, they play a part in when you talk about why you're doing it. You got to know the why behind what you're doing. If you say I can live longer and I can praise Yah longer in my life, then that makes sense. Do everything you possibly can to eat better so you can have a longer life, so you can do the things that you want to do and you can live within that cycle with Yah. Okay. So that's what compassion is. Compassion also too has this idea of suffering together. Okay. It means suffering together. What do I mean by that? Like I said, someone makes a mistake or an error, or they just, they're pleading for some type of, help, and they didn't do anything on purpose, and it was just something that happened. Our responses to that should be more graceful and more compassionate, and be able to suffer with them in whatever they're going through. It's not being empathetic and just having understanding. It's actually being sympathetic, being part of it, making your soul part of it. I know in this land right here, in the tents that we live in, which are the tents of the wicked, you and I find it very difficult to find sympathy because we've been taught, understand what they're saying, but we're not in a position to really help people the way that we should be helping people. We're not in the right circle. We're not in the right environment. Okay. So I want us to understand that too. Okay. So that you're going to come upon things that you're not going to always have an answer to. You may be able to try to help some family members. Sometimes you can't give them everything because it'll make you broke. And then you're going to be in a bad situation and you ain't going to have nothing. I mean, I'm just keeping it 100%. It is. And Yah doesn't expect us to be someone to take advantage of you, like your brother or your sister or your aunt or uncle or any of these people, your parents. Okay. If someone wants to get something from you, you have it, you have it and you can spare it, you should give it to them. You should. If you are squeezing on your budget, you can loan people money, but you have to have an expectation to be paid back because it costs money to live out here. This is what it costs. You and I have no other resources. I'm just making a point that's relative to where we are. Okay. So, it talks about us putting clothing on people. If you have the means to do so and you're getting rid of your old clothes, like I do, I cycle my clothes out. I give them out to people for free. That's what I do. Okay, I don't have to sell it to them. I can find ways to do this, and so could you. That's being compassionate. We can exercise that. And that starts, again, with that mindset. Why are we being compassionate? Why are we being graceful? Why are we showing this freedom? Because we're trying to be and emulate our Creator and that which He has done for us. Yah has set us free, right, from our oppression. So you and I should not oppress. That's why He said you were a foreigner in the land. Don't mistreat the foreigner. He also said, don't do this to your brother because you know what it's like. You know what it's like not to be paid back. You know what it's like to have to work and not get paid. You know what that's like. So I want you to get the same attributes that I have, and I'm going to teach that to you, through the Torah. This is what Yah has done for us. Okay. So compassion is part of that. Suffering together, as Yahweh has been suffering with Israel for a very, very long time. This is one of Yah's attributes. Yah's compassionate. It's very compassionate. Okay. Beauty. Well, what does it express by saying that it's beauty, right? It's beautiful. Well, because of the way that we're dealing with each other and the way that we treat each other and the way that we talk to each other, it's a beautiful thing. It's not just in presentation of the tents with the flags for every family. It's very majestic. Okay. Everyone had their emblem and their insignia with a different color and a different image. And then they had, their families in different colors, and they had all those different types of things. And that's wonderful. Right. But the beauty goes beyond what a person can see. For Yah, the beauty is from within. I read earlier this week in the book of Samuel, chapter number 16, for your reference, that when David was going to be selected king, Shemuel went up and he went to Yeshai, which is David's father's house, and he had 8 sons. David was number 8. Okay, he was number 8. But he had 3 sons that went past, and the first one was very tall and had great stature. And the Most High told Shemuel, he said, don't look at the outer appearance of this guy. He said, I reject him. I must say him. I reject this one. And he says, don't look at his outer appearance. He says, Yahweh looks upon the heart. He looks upon the mind. And what was interesting about that is after he said this, he went through his other sons, Shema, he went through Eliab, and he went through, I forgot the other one's name at this time. But when he went through all 7, he says, is there someone else? And he said, yeah, I have a son out. He's tending sheep. When he came in, David was there. And guess how I described David? It described David as being ruddy, and it described him as having beautiful eyes. He was beautiful. David was beautiful, but he wasn't picked because of how beautiful he was. He was picked because of who he was inside. It's the mind. So Yah is after the beauty of the mind. It's the thought life. It's the one who's committed to him. Okay. So inside this camp, this beauty also too is saying, you know what? If someone needs pity and they need compassion, then I'm gonna be there for them. It also talks about in our Torah portion and working in accordance to everything Yahweh says. That's a phrase that's always used, in accordance to what Yahweh said. Okay, means that they had this idea of conforming to what Yahweh said, a sense of cooperation. They're going to work within it, and they're going to conform to whatever it is that he told them to do. Conformity, cooperation, working together. See, and that's the beautiful thing. And that's the beauty of the camp, is when everybody inside the circle is working together and harmonizing as a cod, as one, to try to achieve the same goal. Okay. So what happened is we dropped our guard and we did not protect Yahweh's ways. And as a result of not protecting Yahweh's ways, we introduced people into our circle. We introduced women who were foreign to our people. They should not be in there. Okay, we gave our daughters to men who Yah says never to give your daughters to. We introduced other gods into our culture, which Yah says never have anything to do with them. We made covenants with other nations that Yah says don't make any covenant with those people. See, we did things that he said not to do. So we are the one who opened the door and created this vacuum. And when they came in, and this is the reason why we have the problems that we have today, people taking our identity, we allowed that. And that's something that you and I need to ask Yah about. Like, tell him, listen, I'm sorry for creating a vacuum. My family created a vacuum. And as a result of that, today, you got other people claiming to be us and not giving you the praise that you so richly deserve it, because we're not where we need to be. Everyone else is doing what they want to do by trying to impersonate us and take upon our customs and making us look really, really bad. And they're not giving Yah the proper glory that's due to his name, because we dropped the ball. And we lost that element in that mindset of protectionism, okay, to let anybody in. We should be jealous, as Yahweh is for us, and we should be exclusive. We really should be. That's my intention. I'm not going to let anybody in that don't supposed to come in. If a person wants to join themselves with Israel, they have every right to. But I'm not going out here trying to go get anybody saved. I'm not talking to anybody that's not a Hebrew Israelite. And the reason why is because that's not my job. First and foremost is myself, and then my existing house people, my tent. And at that moment, like I said earlier this week, our people, you're supposed to give them a warning and do Yahweh a service by warning his people and tell them that we're wicked, and you are one of the sons or daughters of the Most High Yah, and this is our requirement. And he's brought it to our attention. This is what I would recommend for you to read. If you want to find out more information, you can come to a free class anytime you want to on Zoom. They can participate. If they have questions, I'm here to ask them. So if someone's like, I want to know, bring them here. I'm not going to abuse them. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just telling them what it is. We might agree. We might not agree. That's fine. It's hard to get around with what Yahweh says. And you hear people, yeah, but. So the question I have for you tonight, Israel, moving on, is that now that we've covered what a camp is what or how many trumpets did Yahweh ask Moshe to make?
2.
Okay. And what is the purpose of those 2 silver trumpets that Yah had asked them to use in the wilderness? Do you know what the purposes are?
I know one purpose was to let them know when to move.
Okay. And somebody else? Anyone else know?
When
No.
to advise of meetings.
Okay. Good.
Alarm.
When it was alarm. Good. Yes. So there's a few purposes, right? And we're going to read what they are. I've been moved to ask more questions because now if you do your Torah portion, this is going to like reaffirm what you've read. And if you don't know it, you're going to get the answer to the question because it's important. So to answer that question, you're correct. There are 2 trumpets and they're made of silver and they're hammered out. And you to make them of hammered silver, and you're supposed to use them for summoning. Okay, that means to call, the mikra. That word mikra right there has to do with calling a convocation, assembly. Okay, remember I told you that the meh here again is the mem. Okay, and that mem right there means from. Okay, and a kara means to call. That's what kara means. Mikra. Okay. Kara right here. And if I would put it up at Q-A-R-A. Okay. But if it's Mikra, M-I-Q, Mikra. Okay. So the Mikra is one who's calling or one who's proclaiming or one making someone to say it's time for us to assemble. Okay. So that's what we call an assembly. Okay. And so we want to assemble the community that includes men, women, and children. Okay. And even the strangers and those who are joined. And for sounding, the second reason is to sound the call to break up the camp. So one is to gather the camp, okay, and summoning them, bringing them together. And the second reason is to break the camp down and to move on, okay? That's what it is, to prepare them. And so even in this call right here, this summoning called it in the Mikra, is for them to come. And when they showed up, okay, they had to show up in the manner in which they were prescribed to do so. This wasn't just a bunch of cattle running around crazy. This was complete organization. That's why Yah divided everything up, the Habdil, into different divisions and gave us names of those individuals. We'll talk more about that on Shabbat, who are in charge of these things, okay? A little faster here. So when they sound it, and the word sound there is taqwa, when they taqwa, they made a blast, the entire community is to assemble before you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Okay. So one blast, when they, this is a 2 blaster here. When they are sounded, when are they? The trumpets. When the trumpets are sounded, when they're taqwa, okay, the entire community is to assemble before you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Because at the tent of meeting is where they're going to get what? They're going to get the Devar. Okay, they're going to get the Devar. They go get the instructions. Yah's going to speak to them. He's going to tell them what it is that he wants them to do. Okay. If only one is sounded, then just the leaders, which are the heads of the clans, the thousands of Israel, okay, the clans of thousands of Israel are to assemble before you. So a 2 thing is all of them. Okay. The first and one only, you only sound one of these, only one. So there's a distinct sound. And I looked at that word for trumpet, and it's called batzotzorah or batzotzorah. Now, batzotzorah, the trumpet is to make a division, and which was interesting. It cuts asunder, and it has this chopping sound. So this is the sound that goes, So that is a call for them to come. What was interesting when I wrote this out and I looked at the word for the thousands, they just had clans. I put this here, okay? And don't trip off me, but I thought about this. Thou sands. because Israel will be numbered after the thousands of this, like the sands of the sea. So I'm kind of curious, where did the word thousands come from? Okay, thousand. Just a little, a little Dawid humor. Okay, so the thousands of Israel, the leaders are going to come, and those names of those leaders are very important. There's a reason why they're named the way that they're named. Okay, and we'll go over that later. From what direction does the camp move? So when there's this taqwa, you know, this assembly, and they're told to move out, what direction? Who moves first?
The camp on the east, I believe.
Let's see. Survey says when you sound an alarm, the camps to the east will commence traveling. Good job. So here's the next question. So if it's the camp on the east, then my question to you is, or to all participants in our class tonight, which one of these camps is on the camp of the east?
Judah.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, they're on the east. Thank you. And so tell me where they're at.
the West.
Eh.
We're
South.
talking about Reuben?
South.
Yeah.
They're on the south. Yes. So here, what I do, you guys, instead of me remembering all their names, I just put it for RSG and I put YYZ. That's what I do.
Mhm.
Okay. You know, and if you want to make RSG into a something, then you can go, let's see, ROSOG, make it something. You just put an abbreviation, but just RSG for me. And I know who's on the south automatically. I know who's on the east, just based off the initials of their name. Good job. And then, of course, all these names mean something. All these names, Yehuda, and we're not going to go into that right now because I don't have a little bit of time. All right, so Ephraim, Manasseh, Benjamin, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. Where's Ephraim and Manasseh and Benjamin? What side are they on?
The west.
Okay. So all we have left is what?
The north.
We got the north. Yes. One thing that makes me remember Dan is I go DAN. That's his name. And I go, Dan is his name, or Don. So that the A right here is Asher and the N right here is Naphtali. That's how I remember it.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, there you go. EMB right here. I think about these malls they be having out here. EMB. Yeah, EMB Mall. All right. So those are the names, and they all have means and definitions to their names as well. Okay. Okay, what do you got here?
A compass.
All right. So all right. So you see in this compass right here, nice little illustration. I liked it. I thought about you yet, Ed. I said, I gotta see it. I gotta get something that's gonna look cool like Jay. So here it is. As you notice, the degrees are going this way. They're increasing till you get to 90 degrees. Okay. If you were to put a clock here, this would be 12, right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so we got 12, and then you would have, I know 3, you got 1, you got the 2, and you, okay, then you got 3. 3 is 9 and probably at 90 degrees. So that's where it would be. Okay. So where would that be? 45. Yeah. So that would be 2, and that would be 1. Half of that, 29 or something. So 1, 2, 3, and then, going around 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12, something like that. Okay. So this is where you get our clock from, this idea of 360 degrees. All right. I want you to understand this. This is how they know we're the degrees on things and the latitudes and all this kind of stuff. They know exactly where to go and how to get there through this compass. All right. So if we look at this, we have Yehuda here. We got RSG here. You see, we got YYZ here. Who I got north?
Dan, Asher, and Naphtali.
There you go. Who we got on the west?
Ephraim, Menashe, Benjamin.
Yeah. Envy. Okay. So that's how it goes. Right. And I asked myself, look, well, why? Why? So who moves first? That one
Judah.
goes first, right?
E.
I put a dollar sign. I am tripping. All right. He goes first. This is number 2. He's number 3. He's number 4 in terms of tribes. Between these tribes, you're going to get the Levi to come in. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. They're going to come in, and I forgot exactly where the Kohanim are going to be. All right. So, but for just demonstration purposes only, Yehuda's moving first, and then it goes here, and then it goes here, and then it goes here, and it goes, okay. So literally, what direction is it going? Is it
Clockwise.
clockwise? It's
Clockwise.
clockwise, right? It's not counterclockwise. It's going this direction. So why is Yahweh moving in this direction?
This cycle order.
Yes. Yes. Ooh, you about to make me just get excited here, because it is an order. It is a cycle. It is based on timing. Okay. For us. Okay. Just want to show that to you. Now I'm going to show you something else. I just found it to be fascinating because I said, yeah, you moving clockwise. He said, yeah, I'm moving clockwise. Why? Because here it is. Yashayahu tells you this in chapter 40, verse number 21 to 23. It says, don't you know? Don't you hear? Haven't you been told from the start? Don't you understand how the earth is set up? He who sits above the circle of the earth, for whom its inhabitants appear like grasshoppers, stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a what? Like a tent to live in. He reduces princes to nothing and the rulers of the earth to emptiness. He doesn't care. They're just like nothing but grasshoppers to him. Okay. So the point that I wanted to make is that Yah sits on the circle of the earth. The earth is a circle. And it has a clock that tells you how things go clockwise, and you know exactly what timing is. The sun is on a cycle. It goes around the earth and it cycles. Okay. It does. It shows up in its seasons and at what time and what degrees it need to be at and whatever it needs to be, because our Elohim is an Elohim of order. That's what he is. Okay. And sooner we understand this and accept this, the better off we're going to be, because then we'll know, okay, well, our Elohim is just not he's not a God of the New Testament. It allows us to live a certain way where there's no order, there's no leadership, there's no boundaries, there's no restrictions, there's no isolation or protectionism of what he has told us to guard. There's really no responsibilities and duties. See? So we're a people of order, a people of arrangement, a people of words. So even when you and I speak, he wants us to be careful what we say, as I've been saying, because the words that you and I speak have to be orderly and they have to be the right words. Okay. It says this: it will be the sons of Aharon, the Kohanim, who are to sound the trumpets, those silver trumpets. Okay. So we know who his sons are, right? And this is not only for him and this generation, but it'd be his sons. That's why he says the Kohanim. Okay, his sons, the sons of Aharon, goes through generation and generation and generation all the way through. And he says this will be a permanent. Okay, that's like them slacks we said, them permanent press slacks with that crease in it that ain't never coming out. The regulation is the coke or the coke. It's a regulation. It's a decree that Yah has said that this family are the only ones who are supposed to sound it. Okay, now there is another instrument that we have, not trumpets, but what is it called?
Shofar.
Shofar. Okay, we're going to do a study later about the shofar and when that's supposed to be sounded and who can sound it. Okay, so we know right now, just off of what Yahweh has said, that he's told Moshe this, that Aharon, the Kohanim, the sons of Aharon, the Kohanim, who are to sound the trumpets, they are the ones who are supposed to sound these trumpets. Okay, these silver trumpets. No one else. And it's a decree forever. It's permanent. During this last few days and months and weeks, I've been saying this. I've been saying that people are playing games with our Creator. You know, whether that is to become more religious or try to get people to believe that they're saved or try to believe that they're really close to Him. Our people are so, I would say, ignorant to the fact that we are in exile, and that even though we're in exile, we still have to watch our way, and we got to make sure that we don't cross any lines, because this is what they would call a coke. This is one of Yah's decrees. I'm going to show you something, and I want you to just look at it. Okay, you tell me what you think.
Looks like an angel blowing a trumpet.
What's wrong with this picture?
Well, first of all, they ain't the folks that ought to be blowing it.
Okay.
It's not a ram's horn either.
Okay. So listen. So they got two silver trumpets. Okay. That's what they're blowing. This is on YouTube. This guy blows a silver trumpet, him and this woman. Okay. And he's also what you would call a, I call them Hebraicians, where they're a hybrid between Christians and Hebrews. And then he's also got a lot of Jewish stuff in there, but he talks about Yeshua, the HaMashiach, and all this kind of stuff, and 144,000 book of Revelation, Romans, all this kind of stuff. You'll probably see him on there. I commented on his live classes and he blocks me out because he doesn't want to answer my questions. But so I'm going to put him on blast. You guys are correct. We have several things wrong with this. Someone first said what? Someone said they're not the right people. So let's be a little bit more specific. They are not Lewim, okay, from that family, meaning the line of Kohanim. Only Aaron and his sons. Remember, the Lewim, the Kohanim are part of the family Lewim. They are from the family Lewi, but there's certain order, their priestly order the Yah has chosen. Okay. So the Kohanim are the ones who perform service inside the temple. Okay. The other relatives, the other additional Lewim, are the ones who do the breaking down of the temple and put all the sockets and the curtains and the screens and the, you know, everything. And they also carry the temple equipment when they travel. All right. This is important to understand. So that's something right there. So they're not from the tribe. So you're absolutely correct. They're not from the order of the Kohanim. Okay. They're not from Aaron. So why are they doing this? You said this has to be the sons, right? Well, what do we have? Does this look like a son to you? No, that's a woman. Okay. Do they look like the people of Israelites?
No.
No.
Okay. Secondly, this right here is not hammered according to what Yahweh said. It looks polished. It looks like it's been forged. It's not hammered. It's not hammered out. Okay. So what we have people doing right here are they're playing what I would say games. Okay. This is what they're playing, religious games. And they're talking a whole bunch of stuff they shouldn't be talking. So let me ask you a question before I let you go. If Yah says that what I just told you was a coke, a decree, okay, it's a decree and it's forever. Why are they doing this? Are they using it to assemble the people?
No.
Are they using it in the manner that Yah prescribed according to his decree?
No.
No.
So let me ask you one last question. Is Yahweh going to hold them responsible for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think or believe that they didn't read what he said?
They know.
Yeah, they know. They just chose to do what they wanted to do
Okay. So
and how they wanted to do it.
okay. See what you said?
Mhm.
Did you wait a minute? Okay, so we got that. What you just said is they chose, and that goes along with what Yah said. So let's see what he has to say. I don't want to say it. Let him say it. And it's very clear what he says. And it's in chapter number 65, I believe, of Isaiah. And it's not meant to, it's what it is meant to put the fear of Yahweh in us. Okay? That's what this is for. Let me see. Okay. All right. So verse number 11, 65:11. Go here. Just wanted pictures 1,000 words, man. So let me get you right here and show you what you just said, Italian. You just said, can you see my screen? What do you see? Let me get out of here. All right. So according to, you guys believe what the creator said, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's hear what he has to say, and then I'll let you go. In chapter number 65, and don't forget it, because this is something you always got to remind yourself when people start talking. You can remind yourself about what he said, okay? Let's just start here in verse number 8. Yeah, let's just start in 8. Here is what Yahweh says. As when juice is found in a cluster of grapes, and the people say, don't destroy it. There's still some good in it. So I will do likewise for the sake of my servants and not destroy them all. But I'm going to destroy, but not all of them. Okay. I will bring forth descendants from Yaakov, heirs of my mountain from Yehuda, and my chosen ones will possess them, and my servants will live there. Okay, the Sharon will be a pasture for the flocks, and Orkor Valley a place for cattle to rest, for my people who sought me. This is for people who seek Yahweh, which the people here on today are the ones seeking him. But as for you, hear me very clearly, who abandon Yahweh, remember Yahweh's talking, who forget my holy mountain, okay, Zion, who prepare a table for God. This is God, a God of luck and filled bowls mixed with wine for meaning, a God of destiny. These are the gods that they serve. Okay. I will destine you to the sword, and you will all bow down to be slaughtered, because when I called, you did not answer. When I spoke, you did not hear. I spoke, Devar, but you didn't hear. Okay. But you did what was evil from my point of view, meaning from my eyes. And as Talian just said, what Yahweh had said, you chose what did not please me. You chose that. See? So the people who are doing the things that we just witnessed are the ones who are choosing to do what they want to do. They don't care about what Yahweh said. They read it, but they don't have any fear of Yahweh. And therefore, because they don't have a fear of him, this is what you get. This is what you get. If Yah says that a Kohanim and Aaron and his sons are the only ones supposed to blow his trumpets, you think I'm going to have one of those things in my mouth?
No.
You got people out here that are saying that they're Kohanim and saying they're from the line of Aaron that are not. You got people out here that are letting foreigners, listen to me, teach and guide our people, when you're not supposed to have anybody that's a foreigner over you ever, according to the book of Deuteronomy, in any kind of rulership capacity, not over Israel. You understand? So this, what you see on the screen, is what's going on out here. People are playing games with Yah. They can read that and say it's the Levine, but because they believe Christianity, They believe that they can make and go get a silver trumpet and blow it, both of them, male and female. He's not from that tribe. And is he Kadosh?
No.
No,
Is there a temple?
no.
No, but when you become your own temple, you could do this. And that's what the New Testament provides. Just wanted to bring that point out.
So
Just
should anybody be blowing a trumpet at all, since we don't know who the tribes are, right? No one should be blowing a trumpet.
No, you can blow, can't blow a trumpet, but you can blow a shofar.
Okay.
Yeah, a shofar is not for the Leviim, or excuse me, just only the Kohanim. It's for all Israel. Throughout their whole land, they're supposed to blow shofars. That's what they did. Okay. But these trumpets are very specific, and it's to a family. And as we notice, remember, anyone who puts their hands to anything that belongs to that family is going to be put to death. That's what the Creator said. So I'm trying to get us as a group, as a community, to understand we don't want to play with Yah. We don't want to say that we're somebody that we're not. We don't want to claim anything. All we want to understand is that we're in exile and we need to get our act together, and we need to start adopting Yahweh's ways. That's what we need to do, because he said that I want to see a little bit of good in you. I'll spare you if I see some good in you, that you, and for the people who sought me. So he's not looking for us to be perfect in terms of our outcomes. Like, hey, I got it together. He knows. He says, listen, you put forth the effort and you sought me. I see some good in you. I see that you made some improvements. I see that you changed your diet. I saw you, everything that you read, and in your mind, you did what you thought was right, but you made an error. But I know that you didn't do it so you can deliberately go against me. The people that I just showed you read what I said, and they decided to say, well, that's the Old Testament. And that's why Yah's going to put them to death. And I'll tell that to them straight to their face. And I'll tell anybody who's even watching live. If you and I decide that we're going to go and start playing games as if Yahweh is not real, and he's not going to hold anybody responsible in this in particular time that we live in, is called grace to deface him and to profane his name on purpose. Okay. This is what's going on out here. So I'm teaching, don't do this. Let's show some fear. Let's show some respect. Let's show some admiration. Let's understand where we are. Do you know if you start blowing trumpets and you're gathering and you got on whatever kind of clothing you have on, did it look like they had on anything that was kadosh and set apart?
Nope.
No. Now, on the surface, someone might say, well, they just have all the best intentions. They're not trying to hurt anybody. And that's where you and I made our mistake. I hope you're following what I'm saying to you. They might have had the best intentions from their mind. Like they're trying to gather people and bring them to Yeshua. They believe this. But is Yah going to spare them because they led somebody to Yeshua? Or you know what I'm saying? He says that I spoke, but you didn't listen to what I said. And when is he speaking? He's speaking to us in the wilderness, and he's telling us what you and I cannot do. The first words he says in chapter 1, 2, and 3, anybody that puts their hands to anything that has to do with these individuals right here, I'm putting them to death. And I am about order. So you're not going to mess my order up so you can fulfill your fantasy about being a priest and being close to me. I don't care how bad you want to be close to me. I'll show you in a couple of weeks what happened to somebody who wanted to be close to him that didn't have no right to be close to him. And he didn't give them no authorization. And Yah killed them and their families. So this is the Elohim that we serve. We serve the one that says, don't do that. I already told you who it belongs to. Are you Lawim? No. We will get back at home and Yah will give us a registry. He says it in Psalms 84 or 86. He says, I'm going to do a registry. I'm going to register people when I get back to the land. 86 or 87. Psalms 86 or 87 talks about registry. He's going to register the people who were born there. He's going to register everybody according to their family. Okay, the book of Ezra, registry. Nehemiah, registry. Okay, So Yah says you have to have records. And if you don't have the records, you don't know. It's like going to court. If you don't know, don't say something that you don't know. You're presuming things, or you're making suppositions that are not true. And this is because people are playing games and they don't think they're in exile. Just based on what we read tonight, you know for sure that we're in exile because these trumpets are not being blown. It also talks about when they're about to go to war, that they have to blow these trumpets when they're in the land. I mentioned in the wilderness, okay, but in the land, he says, when you get there, you'll blow these and I'll remember you. So there's another purpose behind it. We're in exile, folks. And we just got to learn from our family's history and see what it was that they went wrong. And Yah's testing to see which one of you guys is going to do what I said. If Yah told the same people that just made those silver trumpets or had them made, listen to me carefully, are the same ones that will go and make that perfume anointing oil that Yahweh told them not to. They made the trumpets. What's going to stop them next? What's next on the list? They crossed the line there. You guys hear what I'm saying? There's no restraint. There's no fear. No one's fearing Yah. To know that he's powerful and he's mighty and he's strong and he's given it to one family. If you notice, everything in this Torah portion for the last couple of days talks about for the children of Israel, the congregation, the sons of Israel, the sons of Israel, the sons of Israel. That's what he said. That's your class tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw the connection with the east, the south, the west, and the clockwise. I hope you remember that the clock is going clockwise and we're on a cycle. Excellent point you read, that there's this time frame, and this is very organized. Our Elohim is Elohim of organization and one of arrangement and majesty and power. So you and I have to fall in line with that. This is the reason he's trying to encourage us to change our mindset and be very protective over what he said, so you can continue on the cycle. You don't, you're gone. You're off the clock. Much love and appreciation. Any comments, contributions?
I have a question. You
Yeah.
said something earlier in the lesson about we each live a certain period of life and our cycle ends and then we begin again.
Yes.
Would you elaborate on how we begin again, or our ancestors?
So here's the idea. So the idea behind Hebrews is for us to live. Our ancestors lived through us. It's a cycle. So while we're here, we're dropping seeds. Okay, we're dropping seeds, and then that generation will drop the seeds, and that generation will drop seeds. But every time we drop our seeds, we just go through our life cycle and leave. Okay, we go back to Yah, where we came from, right? He says, you'll be gathered back to your people. Okay, so when he talks about being gathered back to your people, he's not talking about just your body. He's talking about your soul. Your soul is being back towards your people. So the family that Yah has chosen, listen, from the understanding of scholars and even and people who think like this, if you understand the cycles of life, you're going to go through your cycle and you're going to come back again. It's not called reincarnation, where you're going to reincarnate, some other animal or something. You're going to come back through your family. Okay.
Is it called regeneration?
Yeah, it's a regeneration. It's like what David said, what he said about his son. What did he say? He said, you can't come to me, but I'm going to go to you. I'm going to go to you. So David knows and spoke that I know that I'm going to go back and I'm going to see this in particular. Well, I'm going to go back to you. You can't come to me, but I'm going to come to you. So we go through this cycle. So everything, according to the Torah, if you look at everything that Yaakov went through, Yah tells us about this story about Yaakov and what he went through his life. And okay, so let's ask this question. Abraham, did he ever go into Egypt?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did.
He did, but he didn't go as a slave. But guess who did? He did, but he didn't go as a slave. But guess who did? Guess who did? Guess who took his wife? The Egyptians. They took his wife. Okay, and what happened after they took his wife? Yah delivered her, right? Pharaoh ends up giving Abraham gold, silver, all servants and everything. That's how he increases wealth. So he left out of Egypt with what?
Riches.
Riches. Okay, there we go. The children of Israel went into Egypt. Okay, and then they held us hostage. But when we left with what?
Riches.
We left with riches. Okay. So these are the concepts and the ideas that lets us know. Another thing that we're going to go over on Shabbat is how these individuals that name their sons, there's a lot of sons that you read about for the last couple of weeks. And each one of those sons tell you something about their relationship with the Creator and what Yah meant. So fathers were naming their sons based on their experiences. And so they were naming their sons like, Aharon named his son, Nadav, meaning he's willing. Well, who's willing? Well, obviously, it wasn't just Nadav was willing, he was just a baby. It was his experience with Yah. Different thing. What's his name of Aaron's son? Eleazar. See, it cycles. Why did Yah destroy when Judah had a son called Er? Do you guys remember his son Er?
I vaguely remember him.
Okay. Well, Yah killed him because he didn't like him. Okay. So then Judah told his other son Onan to go in to sleep with Er's wife, which is called Tamar. And then he went into her, but instead of him leaving his seed inside of her, he didn't. He spilled it on the ground. Yah killed him. Okay. Because the rule of Yah is that what he wants, for example, a brother is called the right of, I'm going to make sure I'll say this the wrong way. Do you remember what he told Onan? He said, hey, listen, you got to go into your brother's wife and you got to raise up seed for your brother. You got to raise up seed for your brother. Meaning, so Anan was supposed to have a son that wouldn't be considered his. It would be considered Er's son. And he didn't want to do that. Because if he did that, he would begin with the right of the firstborn for his firstborn son. So you're supposed to raise up seed for your brother. Why? Because Yahweh wants the family line to continue. So how is it possible that another son can raise up a child for your brother? Unless it's a regeneration. It's a regeneration.
Didn't you tell us that we were actually in the wilderness, that we had been there?
I believe that. I absolutely believe that, because the way that the language talks about when you are scattered. Where he says, when you go in, right? Remember he said this to us? Listen, that's a great point you brought out. If you listen to the language very carefully, you're going to find out that there's no way that he's talking to the people that are there. Let me show it to you. You just listen very carefully. Is when you listen to it, you'll hear it. He says in Deuteronomy chapter number 30, this was the day that they were going into the land. This was his last message on the one day. And he said this: when the time arrives that all these things have come upon you, both the blessing and the curse, which I presented to you, and you are there among the nations. So you telling me they were in the wilderness, they crossed the Jordan, they went into the land of Canaan, but now all of a sudden they're among the nations, which your Elohim has driven you. Then at last you will start thinking about what's happened to you. And you will return to Yahweh your Elohim and pay attention to what he has said, which will be exactly what I'm ordering you to do today. You and your children with you, with all your heart and all your being. Question for us is this: who is scattered among the nations that Yah driven us?
We are.
We are. Okay.
Israel.
Now, he says, when you start thinking about what's happened to you, did you start thinking about what's happened to you?
Yes.
Yes, you did. And after that happened, he said, you, not them, you will return to Yahweh, your Elohim, and to pay attention to what he has said. That's why I believe that we were there. We're just making our cycles through our families. That's what it is. And the ones who didn't have a chance to go in, oh, this is crazy what I'm about to tell you. This is really nuts about what I'm about to tell you. Our ancestors, that first group, they didn't go in. Okay. Remember, the soul is not masculine and feminine. What's the soul? Which one? I've been telling you, it's feminine. So that had nothing to do with gender, does it?
No.
Okay, so then we just took that off the plate. So all because I'm a male doesn't mean that my soul is masculine. I just have a male body. My soul is feminine. Just like the souls that Yah has given, they're all feminine. So this soul can come back as a male or female, whatever which way Yah decides to give it. He'll give the body to whatever way he wants. But there's something in the book of Isaiah that tells you, again, that you are going to be paid. Remember, Yah says, you know what? I'm not going to pay them right now. I'm going to wait to pay them for what they did with that golden calf. And I've been telling you guys that we haven't been punished. We haven't been fully punished together. But here's what it says. Still in chapter number 65. Ooh, that's awesome. I should finish this though first. Praise Yah. All right. So here he says, at that point, Yahweh, your Elohim, meaning he's always been your Elohim, will reverse your exile. Those people that he spoke to that day did not go into exile. They didn't go into exile. And he said he'll show mercy. To who? Those in exile. He will return and gather who? You. From all the peoples which Yahweh, your Elohim, scattered you. So how could this you be me, but I wasn't there? Here's another thing. What did Moshe tell them? I'm not making this covenant with only you who are standing here today. But what? Those who are not even standing here. You understand? The children of the people that didn't see this, there was a time in the Torah where Moshe said, look, they didn't see this. So it's very specific on certain things that he said, well, they didn't see him split the ocean and nothing. I'm talking to you who saw this. This is who I'm talking to. Okay, you saw it. But from right here in Deuteronomy chapter number 30, that you is the one that he spoke to that day. The you who's exiled and the one who pays attention is the one that he spoke to. There's no way possible. Because you got to ask yourself, why does Yahweh tell us in Leviticus chapter number 26 that you're going to have to say sorry? Why do you have to say sorry? For what your ancestors did. If he didn't tell you in Ezekiel 18 that the father, his soul is mine and so is a child, whichever one sins against me is the one who dies. So is there some conflicts or contradiction? You see? No, it's about the soul. So the souls that were there are the souls that are in exile. That's what he's showing us. The souls that were there are the souls that were in exile. because there's no way that he can match it up, because the you that he's talking to in that day is the you who's exiled right here. The you that you didn't listen and pay attention is the one who has to pay attention to your Elohim. He's always been our Elohim, always. You and I just didn't know it until you and I started doing what? It's right here. He said right here, when you start thinking about what's happened to you, you will return to Yahweh, your Elohim, and pay attention to what he has said. And that's exactly what you and I have done. So even the ones who went into exile first out of Judah and Israel, we could be those souls. We're just the souls. That's why we benefit from being with this family. We'll always be part of it. And it says, even if Abraham and Yitzhak didn't know us, the Yah's our father. And that's in chapter number 64 of Isaiah. So that's where I get the idea of we being here, that we were there. Because those words that Yah is speaking to us is resonating. It's what's causing us to think about our situation. And it's what's caused you and I to return to Yahweh and pay attention to what he said. Which you and I know that it's not something different, but it is exactly what I'm ordering you to do today. And that today is not the today of today. That was thousands of years ago. So why are you and I listening to what Yah, paying attention to what Yah was said today? Because we've been here. We've been here before. That's the truth. We've been here. I know it's scary. I know you'd be thinking, man, this dude is crazy. No, it's the truth. There's no other way. There's no other explanation. You didn't get a brochure in the mail. Ain't nobody called you up and told you were Israel. Ain't nobody in your church told you that, hey, listen, just want to let you know that we're the lost tribes of Israel, and then we got to turn back to the law, statutes, and commandments. You didn't get that. All of a sudden, so you start thinking out of nowhere, like, man, why? I don't like this about this church. I don't like about these pastors. They seem sneaky to me, and they're not really saying what the Bible says. Then we stay in there and we're questioning, and well, yeah, and then we're vacillating, and we find out, wait a minute, okay, this is a lie. So let's look into this. And you find, well, that's a lie too. All the names have been changed, all the character, and you read, and when you read the Torah, you'd be like, oh no, that's not our Elohim. That's not our Savior. So what caused that? It caused it because you are the one who is going to pay attention to what Yahweh has said. Past tense. Said. Past tense. And here's the crazy part. With Yahweh, he's in eternity. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people. When he told Moshe, I'll start over with you. How could Yahweh build a whole nation out of one man and completely accomplish what he said he was going to do for Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? How could he do that? There's a group of soul. The children of Israel number the sand of the sea and the stars of heaven, which means they're what? Innumerable. Oh, so I thought we were a blessed seed. I thought that Nehemiah and Ezra said that our men, our Kohanim and Lewiim, by the way, had married these foreign women, which had messed up the holy seed. Okay, so you and I are a holy seed. We're not. Again, I've already told you that we're Elohim according to chapter number 82 of Psalms. Okay. And I know it's hard to believe that you and I are the actual seeds of Yah. It's all in Isaiah. But I think you need to see it before you go to bed tonight, where he told them, someone came to them, and let me just explain it to you. We're not ordinary people. And that's what you and I need to understand. And the sooner that we get to understand this, the better off we're going to be. And this is the reason why the Creator doesn't want us messing around or being around anybody that would cause us to go against him and not guard. Chapter number 9 of Ezra says this. It says, after these things have been done, the leaders approached me and said, the people of Israel, the Kohanim, the Leviim, have not separated themselves from the peoples of the lands in their disgusting practices. The Ka'anani, the Kiti, the Perizi, the Yevusi, the Ammoni, the Amaovi, and the Egyptians and the Imri. Okay, those are all the peoples. You see the Egyptians are put in there, right? You see the Ammonis and the Moavis, they weren't put in there before. Now all of a sudden they're disgusting, yeah, because they have disgusting practices. He said they have taken some of the women from these nations as wives for themselves and their sons, so that the holy seed has assimilated to the peoples of the lands. The holy seed, the Kadosh seed. So you and I are not born of just human effort. Our soul is holy. That's why he calls us his holy ones. And that's the reason why the consequences for breaking his laws are so extreme, meaning I'm going to cut you off. I can't have anybody being part of the family that's going to go contrary and create and do treason against me. I'm the king. I'm going to have to cut you off. Okay. But you see, the holy seed is assimilated to the peoples of the lands. Moreover, the officials and leaders have the main offenders of this treachery. It's a treachery. Remember, we talked about treachery, right? Something that's hidden and some just the way that they deal with stuff. So look what he did. He said, when I heard this, I tore my robe and tunic. And this is Ezra, which is a master expert teacher in the Torah. Okay. And he said, I pulled hair from my head and beard and sat down in shock. So there's blood. And all who trembled at the words of Yahweh, or Elohim of Israel, assembled around me when confronted with the treachery of these exiles. And I sat there in shock until the evening offering. At the evening offering, with my cloak and tunic torn, I got up from afflicting myself, fell on my knees and spread out my hands to Yahweh, my Elohim, and said, my Elohim, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. And I blush to lift my face to you, my Elohim. For our sins tower over our heads, our guilt reaches up to heaven. Why is he tearing out his beard? Why is he tearing his hair out? Why is he tearing his clothes? He says, since the time of our ancestors, we have been deeply guilty. And because of our sins, well, he didn't do it. He didn't commit this sin. He said, because of if you realize Ezra chapter number 9, I give you a prayer from Ezra, Nehemiah chapter 9, and Daniel chapter 9. All those 9s right there give you prayers, and every last one of them say the same thing. The times of our ancestors, we have been guilty as a people, and because of our sins, including himself, we, our kings, our Kohanim, have been handed over to the kings of the lands, to the sword, exile, pillage, and disgrace, as the case is today. Okay. Now, for a brief moment, Yahweh, our Elohim, has shown us favor, allowing Canaan and allowed us to, allowing a remnant to escape and giving us a secure foothold on his holy place in order for Elohim to make things brighter for us and to revive us a little in our slavery, for we are slaves. They're in the land and they were slaves. Yet our Elohim has not abandoned us in our slavery. But he has what? Caused kings of Persia to extend grace, Canaan, to us, reviving us. Remember, I said Yah is full of grace, mercy, and truth. And you and I are receiving little packets of grace, right? Pity, Yah is suffering along with this. He's not happy that we're in exile. He's not happy about that. And if he's not happy about it, then why are we happy about it? We should be not happy about this. He says, reviving us so that we can rebuild the house of our Elohim and repair its ruins and have a wall of defense. Because remember, the wall of protectionism, this is what it's about. For Yehuda and Yerushalayim, because that's where our Elohim is. He's in Yerushalayim, and that's where he keeps his presence. Okay. But now, our Elohim, what are we to say after all this? We have abandoned. We have abandoned collectively. He's a Torah teacher. Why is he saying this? You see? So you continue to read on and on and on and on and on. what you're going to find out is that we're all connected, and we're connected to our ancestors. Okay. And we go through our cycles. See? And then if we do what's right, why does Yah tell us about teaching your children? Why is he saying from the moment they get up to the moment they go to bed, wherever you travel, whatever? Because he wants it to continue on. You have to, it's going to continue on. If we've been faithful to Yah, okay, so we don't know where we came from. Number one, we don't know how we got here. We know where we came from. We came from him. Neither do you and I know where we're going. We didn't know when we arrived. We didn't even know we were coming, did we? How did you have this personality and this soul? You think just because we got older, that's when you became who you are today? You've been the same person you've always been since you were a child, the moment you were born. Your soul has always been the same. It has. Your body has aged, but that soul is still the same. That's why Yah can look at a child and say, I'm going to destroy this child. That's why I can look at a child and say, oh, you know what? I see something good in that child. I see something good in that child. He has an element of good towards me. How's Yah able to see that? Because he knows. He already knows. See? So that's what it is. So that's who we are. We're a holy seed. We are born from Yah. We are Yahweh's offspring. That's different. And that's why the world wants to put an end to us, because you and I are the blessed seed. We're not blessed because we're black. You're blessed because you're Israel. There's always a whole bunch of black people, but not all of them are Israel. You're Israel. You are Israel. That's why Yah has paid us for our crimes. Because you and I are supposed to be Kadosh. We're supposed to be Elohim. We're supposed to be judges. We're supposed to execute righteousness and justice. Why do you think he gave us his laws? We're not here on accident, folks. This is who we are. And that's why it's mandated. And that's why he's going to kill anybody who puts their hands to it. And you'll see in a couple more weeks. You got 2 more Torah portions. You'll see how what I'm saying to you. Good question, though.
And also that isn't it written somewhere, I can't think of where, that he said that he would put us into a deep sleep.
Yeah, you're in a deep
sleep. Basically wake us up and, we would remember.
Yeah, you're going. He tells us all the time, like, I've been calling on you, but you ain't been listening. See? He's telling you, don't be afraid. I'm with you. I've always been with you. So he's telling the servant not to be afraid. And he's asking this question, don't you know? Haven't you heard from the beginning? You're the one who knows. You're the one I introduced myself to. You're the only family that I know. I don't know anybody else. See, they chopped our Elohim down to make him a man. So you and I think that he knows everybody. And everybody is known of him. And that's not the truth. Yah says that these people mean absolutely nothing to me. That's why he says, I will give their lives for you. I don't care. I'll kill the firstborn in whoever's country I need to. I will tear the world down for Israel. Only if they would turn from their folly. If they would listen to me, I would come right now. If our people were to turn from their wickedness and call on the name of Yahweh, Yahweh would destroy everybody for us. But as long as you got these people out here calling on the name of JC, you got people out here making imaginary priesthoods. You got people out here claiming that Yah's name is on their nasty, filthy building. They're claiming to be priests, but yet they don't have any sanctification, no registry, nothing. Because they want to dress up to look like one? Are you kidding me? That's the Elohim that you and I serve? No. Elohim we serve says you need to come to me in fear and trembling, and you better be afraid. Don't play with me. I'll kill every last one of you. That's what he's told us, don't you? I'm not saying this is what he said. I will wipe the whole face of the earth. I will get rid of you. I will blot your name out forever. He was going to do it before. But in his mercy and his grace and his compassion, I'm going to give him a chance. I'll let him go through some cycles. And at the end of that cycle, we'll find out. I'll put him on the clock. I'll let him find out what it is and see how many times they got to go through it. Yah is never going to give up on us. He's never going to give up on us. We're the ones who give up on him. So whoever dies is because they gave up on him, not because he gave up on them. Because Yahweh freely forgives. And they don't know that because they don't read the Torah. He just tells us you're going to be judged according to your life and manner of conduct. Get your act together and do what I told you. Don't cross me. Is it a threat? No, it's a promise. So that's it, you guys. Sorry for keeping you. I wanted to answer those questions. Hallelujah. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry, Koti. You know, you got good stock, right? You got Yetter, right? You got Jonathan, right? They turn to Yah with a whole heart. Guess what? You know, you pass on, your body goes down, your avatar leaves, your soul go back to Yah. Yetter has a granddaughter or a daughter, and you left out of here and you've been faithful. You might end up going back to that family.
Yeah.
You see? So why does he tell you to teach your children that so you guys can continue? It's a call to family line. So here's another piece before I let you go. Why would y'all tell one family, well, you know what? You messed up. Guess what? None of you stand before me. None of you. Ever. Or he'll turn around and reward somebody. Guess what? I like you. You did what I said. You will always have somebody. From you, your one act would allow someone to always stand before me out of your family. So everyone is reigning off of Pincus's righteousness. Everyone in Gekazi's family got the Zazarat and turned white because of what he did. They will never stand before Yah, ever. So you can literally get blotted out or get removed from your position easy. Reuven lost his bride of a firstborn. It was made clear from there on out. Why? Oh, here's another thing, guys. Why do you think Yah is always talking about the son of such and such, the son of such from the tribe of Reuven? Because that child or that descendant has some residue of that man in them. The behaviors and characteristics is passed on from generation to generation to generation. That why they always mention them. Why are the only names on the breastplate the 12 sons of Israel? And every one of those represent every descendant that comes out of them for here on forever? What was so special about Reuven that he's going to be remembered forever? Don't have me throw this at you. What reason? What did Don do? He made other gods, but he still has his name. Why is his name still there? Cycles. And along the way, you cut the branches off and new stuff grows up. And it grows seed and pops off and boom. The seed that came up is from that same tree that just left. And what's happening is over time, you say, okay, look, they're getting a little bit better. They're getting closer and closer. Oh, now we got Dawid. Okay. So out of Dawid, what do we got? Oh, we got Malachi, Michaela, and McKenna. That's his 3 branches, right? So out of those 3 branches, I'm going to see which one of them is going to do what I say. Is Malachi going to go marry a foreign woman that I told him not to go marry? Is Michaela going to go marry a man has nothing to do with Torah and get killed? What's going to happen? Is McKenna going to be righteous? What's going to happen? Is she going to follow suit? What's going to happen? Do you see why I got to teach my children the ways of Yah? You see? Because once you cut that family off, it's over. From me, in the sense that I'm not going to go through them. But if there's someone else righteous along in my family somewhere, I will get a pass. I'll be able to get back. That's what I'm after. That's why we shouldn't be afraid of death if you know it's a cycle. It's just passing through. It's just an avatar. And you're only here to serve Yah. News alert. You and I only exist to bring praise. That's an idea, huh? That's a thought. You're not here for any other reason. You're not here to make friends. You're here to find out who Yah is at this moment in time. Okay. And then he's going to reveal himself to you, which he's doing right now, not on accident. I'm revealing myself because I plan on coming to get you like I told you I would in Deuteronomy chapter number 30. I told you that I was going to come back no matter where you were. The same you that's in verse number 1 is the same you in verse number 10. Okay. So we're literally reading about our ancestry and our ancestry, but you're also reading about somewhere, somehow, someone in our family crossed the Most High. And you and I are going to have to say, you know what? Look at the mercy of Yahweh. Look at the grace and compassion of Yahweh. Look at the beauty of Yahweh. He still allows you and I to be part of the camp. That's why you're on Zoom right now, because Yah chose you to speak to you, and he had mercy and compassion, and he suffered along with you and said, you know what? I see something in them. I see something in Pam, and I see something in Yared. I see something in Talion and Thomas. I see something in Dawid. I know that their families have been this way towards me. But you could have been also the one who was there, because everybody that got destroyed was just not simply because they were wicked. They were just there. Because Yah considers all Israel as one unit. That's why all the prophets say, we sinned against you. Even if they haven't committed any crime against Yah, they understand that. And we have a hard time because we've been separated from our culture and our people, so we don't even know. We don't want to be associated with our people because, oh, they're slaves. I don't want to be associated with that. That's humiliating. That's embarrassing. You know, I'm the smart one now. I'm good. I live a different way. I'm not under the subjection of the white man, so I'm good. I'm not part of that crew. No, the fact is that our ancestors were slaves. Period. Israel is a slave. See, that's who we are. We're Yahweh's slave that has been taken and driven, okay, to another place because we want to serve other gods. And now he says, get rid of those gods, man. Get rid of them and come back to me. So that's just something for us to think about. If you know that it's possible that you've been here before and that you're coming back, well, how are you going to live? Are you going to say sorry? Going to say sorry for breaking the Shabbat? I have. I didn't even know about it, but guess what? I'm still guilty. Did you say sorry because you're not where you're supposed to be? Are you saying sorry because our people did not praise him and give him the glory that's due to his name? Are you saying sorry for that? If you're not saying sorry for that, that means that you haven't associated yourself with your people. And that means that we're being prideful and we're being selfish and we're being arrogant and presumptuous, as if Yah owes us something. He owes us absolutely nothing. This is called the rescue package. We're being rescued, okay? That's what it is. He gave you and I enough time. You're here today, and he said, you want to do this? Yeah, I want to do it. You want to turn and listen to what I said? Yes. You want to listen to what Moshe, I commanded Moshe? Yes. You want to get rid of your gods? Yes. You want to keep the Passover? Yes. Do you have the offerings? No. I have those. I commemorate it the best I know how. I'm doing the best I know how. I have every intention to guard what you said in every possible way I can, because I want my heart to be right before Yah. That's what it is. Hallelujah.
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 Shalom, everyone.
Shalom. Toda Rabah.
Toda Rabah. I'll see you guys on Shabbat.